Welcome back to my furry life. Chapter 9, Cold Turkey. Yes, you are witnessing a beautiful New York sunset right behind my shoulder. Isn't it magnificent? But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some dark and disturbing imagery that I just faced in this gray muzzle nightmare. What does it all mean? Where do I go from here? Who was that mysterious voice trying to get me to safety? All of this will be revealed in due time. Now, this is going to be a weird chapter because I spent a lot of this chapter alone by myself, but I'll do my best. So, I'm going to need you to use your imagination on this one, folks. So, the day after the nightmare, August 24th, 2013. I hope you can hear me. There's a lot of cars. We're all at the Brooklyn Promenade. A lot of action going on. Now there's a helicopter. Um, this nightmare was disturbing. It showed all my friends and family moving on for me to bigger and better things. Some were not so lucky, unfortunately. They got trapped in messed up situations. And I was still working at Regal. That nightmare showed me I was working at Regal. And so I was just freaked out the rest of the Eurofurence. Nobody would invite me to any room parties or, just kind of just like showing me around, and felt very isolated and alone. But that's right on top of my head. Anyway, I made the best of it. I hung out with Natalie and a few others. I think my friend from Paris was there as well. And yeah, I just spent the rest of the con just basically chilling, just trying to keep my composure. I don't want to freak anybody out. But then on the way back home, it was a pain in the ass, man. I had an 18-hour layover in Moscow, then I had a 10-hour flight back to New York. And all throughout the flight, it was like a symphony of crying babies. One to my left, one to my right, one in front of me, just going off every 20 minutes. So I could not sleep. I probably didn't sleep for like 2 days. And I got home. I wrote a journal about my time there, and I wrote about the gray muzzle nightmare. And I was still just trying to piece together about the significance of it. At this point, I've been in the fandom for 8 years, and I've accomplished pretty much everything I wanted to accomplish. I got a fursuit. I did fur meets. I did a party in my backyard. I won a dance competition. I felt like I really peaked back in 2012 when I did that first Dead Dog dance. That's when I was the happiest in my furry life, I feel like. But all good things come to an end, and I was just worried, like, is this all I'm ever going to have in life? Is this all I'm ever going to do? I hope not. So I did a little retreat to Twilight's place with Yoko, just to kind of like, calm my nerves down and just reflect on what's been going on with me. And it was my first time visiting her in her humble abode in New Hampshire. And it was cool. We had a bonfire and we watched movies and we just, we hung out. You know how we do. We're a team. And it was just nice to see what her life was like for a change. She's always visiting me down in New York, so it was only fair that I go to see her. And I really enjoyed it out there. It's very nice, peaceful, and quiet. And she made us feel right at home. She treated us great. And I met her boyfriend. Yes, at Wildwood the previous year, she told me she was dating someone. And I was very happy for her. I was like, okay, good. She's moving on. She's finding her person. I didn't feel as bad about, rejecting her proposal or turning her down. She told me she had feelings for me. And I met him briefly, and he seemed like a decent guy. And I was happy for her. That's the most important thing. And after that, I started to make plans to go visit John in California. I wanted to visit him for his 21st birthday since he played a very important role in mine. But before I did that, I had to come to a very, very hard decision. And I would think it was time for me to move on from the furry fandom, finally let go of the lifestyle, and see who I am without fursuits and personas and costumes and parties and all this elaborate stuff. Like, who is Edwin? Who am I? What is my identity without the fandom? So I decided to go cold turkey, and I wrote a little speech that I printed out. So I'm going to read it to you because I think it's really funny. Check it out. Some of you saw this coming, and a lot of you haven't. Nonetheless, the time has come. Things haven't been the same since Germany. I feel different. Almost like something new has awoken inside me, finally giving me the initiative to make some drastic changes. For the past year, I've been debating my place in the fandom, wondering if I still serve the purpose or if I had anything left to gain. I suppose most people would say those things don't matter. Stick with what makes you happy. The problem is I don't think I've been happy. Just tricking myself to believe that I am. For the past 8 years, the furry fandom has been a top priority in my life, to the point it's all I ever spend my money and time on, which is true. All of this is true. Things need to change, and pretending I'm perfectly content where my future is heading is no longer cutting it. The reoccurring greymuzzle nightmare I've been having further solidifies that act. The true reason why I feel so bummed is simple. I'm lonely. I don't feel like I ask for much, but maybe things would be different if I had a hand to hold, someone to share things with at the end of the day, a purpose to keep someone happy and safe in this crazy world of ours. I'm not perfect, and I try to do the right thing, but no matter how hard I try, I just can't find what I'm looking for. And keeping faith may be why that felt like I overstayed my welcome. I've come close a few times, but nothing ever works, and over time, that can make you angry. But instead of going down that path, I'd rather just give up hope. I'm tired of being someone that's trying to appeal to everyone by keeping the party going. But in reality, the party ended for me a long time ago. From this day forward, I'll be going cold turkey from all things furry related. That means no more meets, cons, fursuiting, or anything that would involve wearing a badge of some sort. My friends will remain my friends, but I'm completely aware that some of you will stop talking to me due to my decision, and I accept that. The fandom will always be special to me. We critique and criticize things because we want to see them get better. Underneath all that smut lies a heart that unites people and sparks creativity. I hope you understand that I'd rather take a risk by stepping out of my comfort zone for a chance of true happiness over devolving into a shell of my former self. Till next time, farewell and good luck, everyone. And may the power protect you. Edward. So yeah, I wrote that on FA, and that was probably the last journal that got a significant amount of traction. Besides me posting about the dance comp, of course, which, people were excited to hear that I won and very happy for me. But, being in a foreign country without any of your closest friends, to celebrate with you, felt lonely. So it was a very bittersweet experience. But this journal, the cold turkey one, got a lot of comments and replies saying you shouldn't leave, you should just take things in moderation, or some people were mad because I've been foreshadowing this for the past year, saying that I want to try something new, I want to try something different, and they're like, why are you trying to commit furry suicide? It's Natasha was one of those people, because she was starting to get into the fandom, and even though she didn't give me a chance, she still wanted me to be around and just go to cons and stuff with me in fursuit. So she was the biggest voice against me, my decision. But most of the people were supportive. Yoko and Twilight. They knew they were still able to be my friends. Dream, Pesky. It didn't matter what I did if I was still furry or not. Some people it does. Some people take it very seriously, and if you're not in the fandom, they will drop you instantly. So yeah, it was an interesting experience, but it gave me an opportunity to see who was my true friend, for who I am and not what I represented. Afterward, I went to California. Pesky's birthday is right before Halloween, so got to dress up as the caveman one more time. But we didn't really do anything. We just went out to lunch. I was dressed as a caveman at a fancy restaurant. And Pesky played a lot of GTA 5. That's when it came out. It's been out for 9 years, guys, and they're still releasing stuff for them online. It's crazy. And it was cool to just kick it with him and, just spend time with him, just being bros. I smoked so much weed on that trip, so much weed. We took dabs, which is like pure THC. And I'm not a weed smoker like that. I do it once in a blue moon. So whenever I did dab, I just felt like time was moving at a different rate, and it's like an out-of-body experience. But I saw Venice Beach, and I saw a sunset at Venice Beach, which you just saw over here, over the Hudson. So that was really nice. I want to go back to Cali at some point. Oh, we went to a rave too, and the best part of this rave was finding the directions to go. You had to wait at a Cece's Pizza at midnight for this guy to come out and give you secret directions to this rave. It was nuts. Then we get there and the music is pretty shitty, so we don't spend a lot of time there. But I felt like it was my detox. It was my way of purging all the negativity from my body and just made me ready for a fresh new start. I came back. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my job at the movie theater. I've been there for 5 years. And I've been wanting to leave for a while anyway. This was getting very repetitive, and I was getting in trouble for really, really dumb shit. Really stupid shit. Like someone would ask me for a day to work. I'm like, sure, and then they can't make it, so I have to go in, and then, I put in the wrong time for a theater check, and then they want to give me a write-up. So I was like, this is stupid. 5 years is enough. It's time for me to move on. So my last day was before my 24th birthday. And that very same night, I shaved my head. That's right. No more lovely locks. That was over with. I was starting real fresh. And I was bald. I was pretty much balding, so I had no choice. But it still felt like the right time to do it. So now I looked as I am now. Just way skinnier, more brolic. I actually shaved my face initially. I don't know why. So I had no hair here, no hair. I looked like an egghead, man. My 24th birthday, me and a few friends went to this show called Batsu, and my friend Brian Walters was hosting it. It's a comedy show, improv comedy, where they have to try to make you laugh, and if they don't make you laugh, they get punished. They put their hand in a rat trap or get hit by a paintball gun, stuff like that. I've been a few times, but yeah, this is just relevant because I felt like I had a big group with me. It's always nice that people want to celebrate my birthday with me, and it means a lot to me. So that was cool, and yeah, I didn't have another job lined up, so I was just kind of winging it. I was gonna wing it till the end of the year and start looking. A few weeks later, this European furry named Keenora crashes at my place because he wants to visit New York City. And he actually walked across that bridge right there in fursuit, and it was raining. He also went to the top of the Rockefeller Center in fursuit. He rode in a helicopter in fursuit, which he took me with him. He paid for my seat. So I got to see that whole skyline from the sky, and it was really dope. So You know, we didn't hang out a lot of Euro friends because he's has a lot of friends. I guess he's popular. But I told him before, like, I would host you. Just because I'm not a part of the fandom anymore doesn't mean I'm not an ally. And he asked me, like, well, what did you do with Frisky? Like, where is he? And I told him I retired him right here on the promenade. I did like one final dance in fursuit, and I retired him. I was furry no more. A few weeks later, I went to the Dominican Republic to visit Dreamwolf, and I stayed there for 2 weeks, and I missed him, man. Especially throughout these weird times. I was missing him, and he showed me all around the island. It's very beautiful. It's crazy too. People are armed with shotguns outside of grocery stores like it's a normal thing. And kids are riding these dirt bikes at 90 miles per hour on the highway. Other than that, food was great. Juice is great. If juice comes in a box, you know it's going to be good. Ate so many plantains for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We stayed in Santiago. We stayed in, what's the other capital? Shit. Santo Domingo. And we went to his father's house in the mountains. We stayed there most of the time, and it was beautiful. Beautiful scenery. Had a pool up there. It was baller as fuck. And he also had a beach house that I love. That was my favorite part. Just waking up, stepping outside, and you're on the beach. I wish I went skinny dipping in that water because one night had a full moon. It was beautiful out. I don't know why I didn't go in the water. I was stupid of me. Now I would do it in a heartbeat. But yeah, we explored the beach, and but mostly we stayed in the mountains, and that's where I did the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, the hardest physical challenge yet. I climbed down the mountain, and climbing down is not the hard part, and you have to dress long sleeves, you have long leg wear as well, because there's a lot of bugs. Once you get down there, I'm tired, yeah. We find this hidden spring, and we do get in there naked. So it's like, we did that. I don't know why I didn't go to the beach naked. And yeah, it was a very unique experience. It was just guys, friends, just chilling. It was not weird. It was just like, hey, we're naked. Or in the spring, it was sharing a moment between two men, a platonic, intimate moment. Oh God! But climbing up was the hard part, and it had rained the night before, and every time I stepped in to the ground, it was muddy. It was just mud, and I was sloshing, zipping and sliding everywhere, getting stuck, and I was just exhausted. I had to push myself past the point of exhaustion to get back up, because if not, I'm just gonna stay there. I'm gonna stay there face down in the mud and just give up on my life. But I kept pushing. I got a stick. I was like grabbing, just walking, climbing, and I got up there. And it was one of the most fulfilling experiences I've ever had in my entire life. I was proud of myself. I took the longest shower ever after that. But eventually, I had to move on from DR and come back to the States. Again, it was some very welcome time away from the city, just from my thoughts in general, of this whole ordeal. And meanwhile, I was getting these weird dreams of an African village and a baby panther. Oh, also when I was in DR, I did a little bit of archery. I had a bow and arrow, so I was practicing with archery, and that was fun. So January is where I started looking for work. During this time, I spent a lot of time just inside my house, applying to jobs and binge watching Community. That's when I got into that show. It's a good show. Check it out. And I made a Facebook page. Ew, gross. Because I wanted to try to be normal and and make human friends. it was it was not my finest hour. I also joined this website called is it meetme.com or Meetup? I think it's meetup.com. So I just wanted to make some friends that were outside of the fandom. Do normal things for a change of normal. Let's see. We went to see the Lego movie in like a random group of people. We went to see a Lego movie and then we had dinner at TGI Fridays, and it was nice. All these people were very nice. They were chill, fun to talk to, and I never saw them again. That was just a one-time thing. I never saw them again. You know, it just happens like that. What else? I used to do this video game meetup in, I think, Greenpoint. It was on a G train. I think it was in Williamsburg somewhere. Every week they would bring a new console, so we would play, games for that console. It would be Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube. Brought Kaze one time. He's the reason why he's addicted to gaming now. It's my fault. That was also chill, and I did meet someone there, and I added them on Facebook, but nothing progressed with this girl. In fact, I don't even know why I didn't start online dating during that time. I had a lot of free time, but my money was running out. That's probably why. Because when I do things like that, sometimes I take a hiatus from working. I save up money to make sure I'm good for at least a few months. So nothing was hitting. I did have an interview, but my phone didn't ring for whatever reason. I got the voicemail, and then by the time I replied, it was too late. So I was like, fuck. But I kept trying. I kept doing other things. I went paintballing in Delaware with some furries. Paintballing was cool. I would love to do it again. Got shot in the eye, but that's why you wear goggles. So good thing I had goggles on. And it was cool. I felt like I was Solid Snake. I was like on the ground. I had army fatigues on. I went to a silent party with Yoko. And a silent party is you wear headphones. There's 3 different DJs spinning. So you can flip between different genres of music. And Yoko came with me. She came with me at the last minute because I was supposed to go to with Natasha, but she ended up going to a con at the last minute with her boyfriend. According to her, he packed her bags and they just left. She was acting really funny during this time. She was embracing the fandom more and more. In the beginning, when we first met, she was like very shy and timid. She always said she wanted to cuddle with me, and then I offered to cuddle with her one night, and she just acted really weird, and she thought I was like trying to take advantage of her. I was like, no. But then from what I heard now is like you're just jumping into bed with like different people and doing like wild shit. So, in the beginning, I got a very, very, I guess, distant, I guess that's the word I should use. She was distant, but now she's like more friendly with people and open and just like doing stuff like that. But it is what it is. I'm glad she was doing her thing, making friends in the fandom. No shade whatsoever. It's just something I noticed. Like the difference is the way people see you differently after you're outside of the fandom. But Yoko's a real G. She'll never let me down. I went to a sexy nerd party, which is the only thing I can say the only cool thing I've ever discovered from having a Facebook page. I didn't have that Facebook page for long. It was like 6 months. But sexy nerd parties are great. Everybody shows up in costume or cosplay at a bar in Manhattan, and we dance, we play video games, and we have a great time. Did meet a girl there. She was dressed as Korra. But again, nothing happened. Nothing progressed. Just a flash in the pan, but I still had a good time. I didn't think I dressed up as anything. But the most significant thing I would say that I ended up doing during my time not working is I joined the self-defense class at the gym that I worked out at. This guy was just teaching self-defense for free, and I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. and I used to go like every Thursday night, I believe. It was free. So I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, I've always had like an interest in like, martial arts and stuff. But I never got a chance to do it because of my asthma as a kid. So I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. So he taught me a bunch of cool techniques, the elbow strike, the finger finger whip, a bunch of cool little techniques that I still remember to this very day. Luckily, I haven't had to use them, at least in real life. But this guy was the man. He taught me for like 3 or 4 months, and then he moved to San Francisco to become a cop. So I was heartbroken, man. I was like, that's my dude. But I was also learning to drive a little bit. I was like, it's about time I started learning how to drive. And yeah, I was running out of money. I was dangerously low on funds until the end of April 2014. I finally got a job at New York Sports Club in Chelsea. As like a housekeeper. So it was like Regal doing the same stuff, but in a gym. And my boss was weird. Like, her name was Brenda, and she just had like a weird, spunky attitude. The way she would talk to us, her employees, wasn't very PC. Let's put it that way. She would say a lot of out-of-pocket stuff. And during my time at New York Sports Club, we went through 3 different GMs. The first one had her boyfriend on payroll, so she didn't last long because her boyfriend didn't work there. Second, her name was Roxy, and she actually knew what she was doing, but I guess she saw it as a sinking ship, so she eventually left. And then by the time the third guy showed up, I was on my way out. So I was like, you don't have to know my name. I'm leaving soon. But yeah, New York Sports Club was an interesting experience. There was a lot of nice people there. They definitely found me attractive because we were next to the village, so a lot of guys would be like groping me and be like, "Hey, Edwin, how you doing?" Just grab my chest and shit. But I liked having a free gym, and there was a dance studio in there, so I could practice my choreography. That was nice. So, yeah, this period of time, this first half of 2014, was just me trying to like figure out like, what kind of person I am without the fandom just backing me up, I guess. But eventually, I did miss the good times. I'm not gonna lie. So one day, I get this mystery package in the mail. I don't know who it came from, and it has this crest inside. And I'm like, who sent this to me? This is weird. Then I put it on. I got this vision. This vision of 5 different places in New York that I had to go to with this key that Kibi Cat once gave me. It's the key to the city. So the key to the city, this is how it works. It opens random places in New York. Like, it'll open a secret door at the Brooklyn Museum, or a secret garden in like Soho, or a secret compartment in the church on 110th Street, St. Divine Church. So I decided to look into that. And I went to these different locations. And the church was the last stop. So I go down. I'm looking for this keyhole with my key, and I don't see anything. And then all of a sudden this activates. And I find with the keyhole, and I use it to go underground to this tomb that hasn't been opened in years. And that's when I hear a familiar voice. It was the same voice I heard in the greymuzzle nightmare, trying to save my ass, saying, "I've been expecting you." And turns out, use your imagination, folks, It was a panther, had red eyes. He had a slash, three slashes across his chest, and multiple scars on his body, and African tattoos. His name was Wakanda Olamar, and he reached out to me because he's telling me that my people are in danger. I'm like, who are my people? It's like, the people that dressed up as the animal ancestors. And I'm like, those aren't my people anymore. I quit that. But according to him, I was being manipulated by an evil force by the name of Cyrus. It's like this jaguar who wants to take over and create an army to make the world in his image. So Wakanda tells me his backstory. It's pretty long. Give you the spark notes. He grew up in an African village, and this guy, or this jaguar named Cyrus, he takes newborns and he raises them as his own for his army. Wakanda's parents kept him hidden till one day Cyrus comes and he kidnaps Wakanda's father. Wakanda's father made this crest to always have a piece of Wakanda with him at all times. The crest on this stands for courage. So Wakanda trains for a rematch against Cyrus because he knew one day they were to come to blows. His father left him a pair of knives, or a pair of blades called the Anthrocon blades. They're curved, and he could hook them up together to create like this crazy blade boomerang to dispatch his enemies. Eventually, Cyrus' forces comes to Wakanda's village, and they burn that place down. And Wakanda's left on his own. A tribe of Ethiopian wolves takes him in, and they teach him how to fight, and they train him farther than he's ever been trained before to become an assassin, to get revenge for his village burning down. Eventually, Wakanda leaves because he knows those wolves are going to be in danger if he stays there, because Cyrus is looking for him. Cyrus takes refuge in Wakanda's old village, the remains of it, and Wakanda dispatches all of his, animals, I guess. He dispatches all of his animal forces, all his army, just to get a face-to-face with Cyrus. And he finds him, and Cyrus reveals that his father is still alive. He's been tortured for all these years because he was jealous that Wakanda's father got to lay with Wakanda's mother. And Cyrus always had feelings for her. So this was all like a big revenge thing. And Cyrus wanted to raise Wakanda as his own. It's like second in command. Wakanda, seeing that his father has been suffering, puts him out of his misery and gets into a fight with Cyrus. Wakanda thinks he's defeated him, but he becomes even stronger and gains a brand new form. And Wakanda is captured, but he has the crest still with him. It's been rumored that Cyrus has been using dark magic to stay immortal and do other things that people have not seen yet. So eventually Wakanda escapes from his chains and shackles, which have left permanent marks on him, and he steals a few pages from this dark magic book. And he follows Cyrus to America. Eventually, Wakanda uses magic that he learned, put his consciousness in this crest, and that's how he started communicating with me. And a religious man found this crest on Coney Island Beach because it was unearthed during Hurricane Sandy, and gave him instructions to seek me out because Cyrus is manipulating me, doesn't want me to stop him. So This whole thing I just told you is a setup for me to have my second persona introduced into the world. It's a whole ass origin story for me to be like, oh, I have a second persona now. So I say you have to have imagination. So Cyrus is seeking someone to take over and so he can come back as a physical being. So Wakanda says like, hey, you gotta look out for your people. Where would a huge gathering of your people be right now? And that's when I tell him we gotta go to Anthrocon. So now I got this crest. I go to Anthrocon looking for Cyrus. And I have this crazy dream sequence where I'm like fighting these undead anthropomorphic, generals and different animals and zombies and shit. There's no sign of them there. My friends had no idea I was going to AC 2014. Debuted my Wakanda fursuit on July 4th. And I would go up to Yoko and be like, surprise! And she'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? I go up to Kat and be like, hey, it's me. Are you surprised? It's like, nah, not really. I debuted this brand new character and like no one gave a shit. It was really funny. But I was having fun with it. Brought Kaze with me. First Furry Con. I got him really drunk at this room party hosted by Pizza Shep. Pizza Shep's always at these cons. And he makes his drink with Mountain Dew and Kool-Aid and vodka. So I thought the bottle was just Mountain Dew, so I was pouring more into Kaze's cup, and I was actually pouring more alcohol into it. And he's like, man, the room is like spinning. Yeah. Feel guilty about that. Sorry if you blame me for why you drink so much. And at this same room party, I met this girl very, very briefly. She was really pretty. And, try to introduce myself, spit some game. And she's like, cool. And she just wanders off to the next room. And I thought I would have never seen her again. She's going to be important in the next chapter. So Anthrocon was a bust. Couldn't find Wakanda. So I couldn't find Cyrus, my bad. So I tell Wakanda, man, I can't do this, man. It's too much stress on me. You got to find someone else. Take this crest. And I bury it in that tree right there. Under that tree, I buried the crest. And I just take time to reflect on myself and the actions, what has occurred. And during this time, I find out that Twilight is engaged. I'm like, wow. I was just surprised. It was very unexpected. It's like, she is engaged. Again, I'm happy for her. Just surprised. My dream told me she was going to be in a loveless marriage. So I was scared that the things in my dream were coming to fruition. So I had to stay away from the furry fandom. I had to prevent this dream from coming true. But that summer of 2014, that's when my cousin gave birth to her second child named Lucas. And it dawns on me that Lucas was never mentioned in the greymuzzle nightmare. I only saw Dylan as an adult. So if Lucas wasn't in the nightmare, that means that future is bullshit. It's not going to happen. I can still change it. And I tell Wakanda this. I come back to the promenade, and I'm like, listen, I'll help you. But we got to get rid of these nightmares that are plaguing me, man. These nightmares they keep reoccurring. So he tells me about this dream cleansing ritual, which involves lucid dreaming. So I read up on lucid dreaming, and I try to replay the moments that led up to the greymuzzle nightmare happening. and I watch my dance performance. I look at pictures from Eurofurence, and just try to recreate the same thoughts I had. And eventually, I re-entered the Grey Muzzle Nightmare. I'm back in the Eurofurence hotel, zombies everywhere, and he tells me that I need to find my trigger to stop the nightmares. And I go through the hotel and I find it, and it turns out to be a bomb. So it's like I got to set off this bomb and leave the hotel for these nightmares to stop. But I grow curious. I'm like, well, what was in that room that they took me in, or they took my older self in? It's like I got to find out. Wakanda's warning me and like, don't go. You need to get out while you still can. But I still go in that room. I'm armed with a gun. Only has 9 bullets. I get there and I find my old self from the Grey Muzzle Nightmare. And he's in chains. And, I feel so bad for him. I tell him, I'm sorry this happened to you. It's not fair. You were just living your life. And it's okay to do that. You shouldn't be ashamed. You know, you can still have all these things that you wanted. Good career, a family. This doesn't have to be your legacy. And the chains come off and he's freed. And I'm trying to get him out the door. But my ass got bit by a zombie, so I'm infected. So there's only one thing to do. Only way I'm going to get out of this hotel is I got to shift into Anthro, baby. So I shift into Anthro, turn into my Wakanda form. I bust through all the zombies. I take my boomerang, throw it at the giant disco ball in the middle of the hotel, and see it crash into a bunch of zombies below. And I'm about to get out the hotel, but then this vision of my mother comes, and she's old and fragile. She's telling me, don't you want to give me grandkids? Don't you want to do this? How can you stick with these people? They're sexual deviants. Don't throw your life away. And I'm like, you're not my mom, because my mom wouldn't say these things. And I take a bow and arrow and I shoot that illusion, and it shatters into pieces like a mirror. Wakanda's an archer. I forgot to mention that. So I finally get to the exit, and again, I'm infected. It's starting to take over. But the older version of myself saves me. He shoots an arrow with a rope outside it into the street and grabs my jacket, wraps it around the rope, and tells me to leave and live my life. And he pushes me out of the hotel just as the bomb goes off, which wipes out everything about the Grey Muzzle Nightmare, all the dark thoughts and memories. And I get out of there with a clear mind for the first time in a whole year. So we're wrapping things up barbecue style. Got people at my crib, and I'm about to announce my return to the furry fandom. But it's only going to be a brief stint, because I'm masking my search for Cyrus as my furry farewell tour, where I'm going to hit the 5 most populated furry cons in the world. So next time, you're going to witness the final chapter of my furry life, and I promise you, you won't be able to predict how it's going to end. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.
Go.
Oh, but what the fuck? Asshole! Oh, yeah! You do this all the time! Jesus Christ!